What's up, guys? This is your SoCal fishing forecast for Thursday, July 15th. This is the Chasing Pelagics channel, and we do this forecast/report every Thursday, giving you the latest, greatest information off the water and what's going on. Quick trip report. I made it out last Sunday on the Amigo, and I didn't post anything on Instagram just because we went fishing for white sea bass versus tuna, and the information was pretty much on the DL. Not too people knew about what was going on, so I didn't want to blow it up for anybody. But I found the source elsewhere, and the information is out there. So I'll go ahead and let you know where we went. We went to Santa Barbara Island, and we fished for white sea bass. Did pick up a couple yellowtail. You had to have live squid. That's what they wanted. And we pulled in tight, started fishing about 4 a.m. Actually, maybe a little bit earlier than that. But we didn't get our first bite till about 4 a.m. Brian got the first one on the deck. And we had a really nice grade fish, anywhere from 25 to 40 pounds. And they bit the dropper loop. They bit the sliding sinker. It all worked out really well. And we fished that till gray light. It was overcast, so we probably got a little bit more time to fish it than you typically would if it was sunny out. So it kind of extended the morning a bit. But by like 8:30, it was all over, and that's pretty much all they wanted to bite. We did pick up a few yellows too while we were fishing for sea bass, and they're like 20 pounders, pretty nice, good sized fish. And then we slid out to try a couple other spots. We had good current, good conditions, and we only managed to pick up one that wanted to bite, and that was on 20 pounds. So if they're really shy on 20, then they really didn't want to play. But all in all, really nice day on the water. The usual group of killers, put the wood to them, and we had a really great trip. I will be out there this weekend on the Constitution for a 2-day trip, so looking to put the wood to the tuna this time with a couple of buddies. Speaking of that, frequent flyers who have dropped off some more product, and they are now available at Performance Tackle in Los Alamitos. They're available at the Longfin in Orange. They're also available at Ketchum Tackle in Costa Mesa. And we'll be announcing more locations as we get more product in. And we'll make an online store available to you guys also. So if you're not close to one of those tackle shops, we can still get one to you. So that's what we're working with. But let's get to the forecast here. Man, the weather is looking great. And finally, summer is here, man. Nothing on the charts to be worried about. Take a look at the wind model. And we got this typical summertime pattern. You know, light offshore morning winds, followed by light onshore winds in the afternoon, all looking below 10 knots. I mean, there's nothing out here I'm really concerned about. If I was in a private boat as well, even a couple of gusty afternoon days, not too really here, but we do have a little bit of soft swell in the water. Nothing concerning, though. It's that longer period stuff, so you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, we're looking forward to a really great weekend. This great weather does have the private boat guys out, I will tell you, especially when the fish are close to home here in Oceanside and Dana Point, San Diego. Get to the boat ramps early, schedule your day properly. I will just tell you that I would avoid Dana Point. If you're not aware, the harbor is under construction. They've had limited the parking for the last year, and I promise you there's no parking at 7 a.m. So don't bother going there if you're going late. If I was going, I'd be there 4 o'clock, 4:30. That's not a joke. Otherwise, take your time, launch somewhere else. There's not enough parking. I've scratched by a couple times having to de-hitch my trailer, park it in one spot, park my truck in another spot, and honestly, it's just not worth it. So if you're absolutely sure that you wanted to launch there, make sure you go early. Everywhere else seems to be pretty fine, but I would expect the bait barges to be busy as we are heading into a really nice weekend. Did I mention that we finally got a chart? I know you're not going to believe me, but we got a chart. Here's the 8th day. Finally, we can see what's really going on out there, although we kind of gave you a hint at what it would look like. But we got nice 72-degree warm water out there, and this is allowing the fish to slide up from Mexican waters into the U.S. waters. And it's really awoken the bite overall. And I'm really stoked we're finally back into summertime mode. after we've been edging out this La Nina. Which, by the way, they're still really on the fence here of whether we're going to go back into a La Nina or not based on the water temps down by the equator. There are like 60% chance of us going back to La Nina, but I mean, to be honest, I mean this far out, it's really hard to tell until October what things are really going to do. But anyways, for right now, we got warm water. That's what's happening. Let's start off with Santa Barbara. We told you about sea bass is there. Not much else. San Nick. A couple of people did make it out to Nick, and there's some yellowtail biting from 12 to 20 pounds. And it seemed like they like the sardine, so not really a problem there. Catalina. The Catalina bite still remains slow for yellowtail, although they do pop up from day to day. There's no knockout numbers. Barracuda, bass, bonita pretty much be found anywhere on the island. Look for those continued conditions. Clean water, a little bit of current, makes the magic happen. The 150 zone. We've had this barracuda bite, and that stuff has been hanging around. You can see it. There's a lot of bait outside the harbor when you come in, and birds have been on it in the afternoon, high tide, and it's really easy to pick out. So if that's your thing, it's close. Have fun with it. The mussel farm, there's still fish here every day, off and on. Nothing continuous or outrageous, but if you want to fish close to home, specifically for yellowtail, they're there. Bring the heavy stuff, 40-pound plus, and try and keep that stuff out of the wires and cables and all that kind of stuff that holds this thing in place. Otherwise, you're going to get broke off. So be advised. San Clemente Island. There's still some yellowtail bite happening down here in Pyramid Cove, and it's mainly the smaller grade stuff. 12 to 20 pounds. I mean, that's not small, but smaller grade compared to what's going on at that northwest corner of the island. Down by the dunes, we got some bigger fish, and there's some sea bass mixed in there as well, as we reported last week. These fish, they want the squid. If you don't have the squid, don't bother. They're not interested. We're Pyramid Cove or the front side. They're just fine with the sardines. So be advised. Also, there is a little bit of sea bass action going on at Catalina. I forgot to mention that. On the squid beds, if you don't know where they are, make sure you do your homework. Look up where the squid like to hang out, typically on the backside. Hint, hint. So do some homework, and if that's what you're into. Now, wow, let's talk about these tuna, man. We got bluefin, we got yellowfin, we got kelp-patty yellowtail. It's all happening, and it's been happening. It's been happening so much in U.S. waters that no one is really even fishing in Mexico for the most part. But earlier last week, this fish was right in real close. I mean, fish being caught within, 100 feet of water off Laguna. I mean, are you serious? I mean, this is insane stuff going on here. But typically when this happens, it doesn't last long. They don't like to hang out off Laguna all week. So they're going to be moving up and down here, but they're seen as high as the platforms up near San Pedro. And they're in the shipping channel as well. But today, they seem like they've retreated a little bit further south. Couple below the 267. Most of this stuff was right here off Oceanside, and even below down to Carlsbad Canyon. Let me just switch this chart here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. A little bottom detail here. But yeah, Carlsbad Canyon down here, and they've been hanging out off here today. So, but they've been following these ridges, and if you notice this ridge here, I'm going to switch back to the chloro chart so you can see what I'm talking about. When I go to, let's go to 3-day chart. You can see this edge of chloro here if you look closely, and that's matching up with the canyon. So those sharp leading edges of the canyon are really what's driving these fish to these areas with the upwelling of the current. And that's keeping a nice, happy habitat for the bait, and that's what they're snacking on. So today, like I said, this was the primary area for bluefin. This stuff's going from 20 to 200 pounds plus. Haven't seen anything over 300 yet this year. Hoping for a 400 maybe again this year. That'd be nice if that stuff kicked off again, but so far we haven't seen it. This area's been hot. The 181, 182. There's been fish here earlier in the week also. The 289, if you're familiar with it, this is a pretty fishy area in general. And all the way up again to the 277 to the slide. This sharp edge here as well has been seeing some fish as of late, and all the way up to the mackerel bank. So there's a good chance that this stuff is going to keep pushing up if the water continues to warm up, I wouldn't be surprised if some of it shows up at the Osborne, at the Farnsworth. These are areas where sometimes this stuff ends up hanging out. But just plan your trip wisely. Make sure you got enough fuel, all the usual stuff, and be safe out there on the water. As I mentioned, below the border, there's nothing really going on. No one's fishing this stuff, so I really don't have anything to report to you. I'm sure you can find some kelp-headed yellowtail along the canyon lines here when you find a temp break. Coronado Islands have also had a little bit of yellowtail, but it's been the smaller stuff, 8 to 10 pound stuff, guys. Some were found above the North Island today. Some were below the South Island. So no particular area is working better than the other, but there's some smaller stuff there. But I know most of the attention is gone out to the tuna now. So just be advised, that's what's going on. And here's a quick look at the 3-day. I know it's not very telling for the outside here, but keep a good close eye on your temperature sensor on your boat when you're heading out, and you can find some of these temp breaks. I know on this 3-day it gets blocky here. Even the 1 day is not very helpful, but when you do find those temp breaks, that's where that stuff's gonna be lined up at. So hunt around, bring a pair of gyros, and spend some time out there looking. They're there. Now, as far as what's working, daytime, man, it's been a lot of this sinker rig bite. Jigs are being tossed at them. I will tell you, if you're on a private boat, you got a chance of throwing a jig at them. If you can get to them quicker, slide in, you're not as big, you're not as scary, and you got a chance at throwing jigs at foamers on these stuff. If you're on a sport boat, you're going to have a little bit harder time. Most of the stuff's going to sink out before you can really get to it. Try a drig, try a popper. That's my favorite stuff to fish for on the foamers. And as far as daytime stuff, oh man, I wouldn't want to fish light unless you absolutely have to. If for some reason they're not going to bite the 60 or 80 pound sinker rig, which if you're not familiar with that, just rubber band, a 10 ounce or a 12 ounce torpedo weight about 8 to 10 feet up from your bait. That's how we're catching them on the sinker rig. But if they're not going to bite 60 or 80 pound during the day, you can try fishing lighter, but you're just risking getting smoked. I don't want to be fishing this stuff on 20 pound. That's just silly. You're going to get broken off. But nighttime fishing, the jigs have been working well. The glow-in-the-dark flat falls, the 200 gram, 300 gram stuff. Anything shiny has pretty much been working. It doesn't seem like they're really affected or have to have the glow. But you got a little bit of glow to yours or a little bit of glow paint on it. Should be working just fine. There's jigs that have been working really well. The Zacanas, flat falls, SK jigs. SK jigs are pretty much impossible to find now. If you got a source, it probably won't last long. So if that's what you really want, they're out there. But also for the sport boats, I mean, really at this point, you're gonna really have to start using the flying fish stuff for the big stuff, and really working that plunker bite while you're fishing the sinker rigs. These big fish, they really like the flying fish, and they just can't resist them. So whether you're floating a dead flyer on a kite, using one of our frequent flyer lures, either floating it or put it on the kite, that's what it's made to do. So get out there, guys, on the water. This continues to be, like I said, this is the best bluefin fishing in my lifetime, and I can't believe it hasn't stopped. There's been no particular day that's really slowed down super hard. Or, like last year, there'd be like a week and a half where they just didn't bite at all. It's pretty much been full speed from the end of April to now. So pretty impressive stuff here, and I look forward to the rest of the season. So take care, guys. As always, you can find us on YouTube if you subscribe, Instagram, Facebook, all that hot stuff. So we'll let you know. Cheers. If you like what you saw today, you can subscribe to our channel or follow us along on Instagram and Facebook, and always remember, share the stoke.